In our discussions, we're going to see the current status of media in Ethiopia. And my cameraman is Tsagga Haymanot. Welcome, Doctor. Let's start with the first question. How did you see the current status of media in Ethiopia with the last 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, thank you for having this chance to have this discussion on the development of media practice in this country. As far as the media practice in this country, it has moved all through the twists and turns, and it has moved a thorny road where the media has been much oppressed and not able to be independent enough to serve the public interest. So the media practice in this nation could have helped for the development of the democratic building of the country. However, because of various constraints have been observed in the overall practice of the media, could not make its own contribution to the level that we expect to work for democracy. The reason that I claim in regard to the lesser contribution of the media in the democratic process of this country is because the media has not got its autonomy to serve the public interest, where freedom of ideas, freedom of speech can be more enhanced. At the same time, the professional developments or the professional problems in this country has been the hiccup for the overall practice of the journalism field. So journalism could have got a better position so that the government can benefit a lot in building a better society, a free democratic society. So in regard to that one, we didn't come up with a journalism that can better serve the society. In the recent times, we come to witness that media has been somehow able to bring some societal opinion to a certain degree of freedom.
Okay.
That is related to mostly to the public questions that erupted here and there, and along with that, the media worked towards the addressing those public issues, and we come to see better time and hope that the democracy and the media can be more integrated, and can the media help to bring a better government.
Doctor, is there something to add on this?
Throughout these 3 or 4 years, triggered by the existing movement among the public in several parts of the country, and following that, we are seeing changes in media industry. All are not changing, but some media outlets are changing how they are conducting journalism. That is what we are witnessing right now. For example, their attention towards corruption, their attention towards exposing malpractices.
How the private and the government media should work in the legal frameworks.
Yeah, in regard to the broadcast situation in this country, as we had the broadcast proclamation 533 2007, there have been a lot of debates encircling the broadcast proclamation in this country. For some claim that it may limit the freedom of speech and expression. However, there are also good points to talk about the broadcast proclamation, where the media has been able to work in the legal framework in which the country has set to the practice of journalism and practice of media. So as far as journalism is concerned, journalism has got different functions. One of the functions of journalism is to inform, or informational function. The other one is entertainment function. We do have the educational function. We do have socializing function. We do have the mobilizing or the correlational functions and the likes. There are so many functions that journalism can do in a democratic society. Our democracy is an emerging democracy, and this is a practice that has not been moved along. So there is a need to look into the democratic setup that is done through different legal practices, and one of those things is the broadcast proclamation. So in regard to the broadcast situation in this country, no matter how the availability or the prevalence of the media law, the practice has been hampered by the one that I mentioned earlier about the professionalism of the field. It has been managed by people who got less or no knowledge about journalism and the media. As a result of that, the media practice on one hand and the broadcast practice on the other has been highly hampered by those hindrances. So we feel that the media, if we are to build the democratic people, democratic society where freedom of speech and expression can be met, we need to give the opportunity for the media to ventilate the social grievances, the developmental hindrances or the developmental obstacles of this country on one hand. On the other hand, it has to serve the public interest, as I mentioned earlier. The public is expecting the media to be the eyes and the ears of the public, and that the media has to live up to those expectations, societal or public expectation, as well as government expectation, where the government is expecting it to build the democratic process on one hand, on the other the good governance is practiced in this country. But in regard to those things, the broadcast things have not been moved to the level that we expect. So there is a need to make it free, so that we can build free society, and that's the point I would like to make.
Is there something you may add on this?
What is required is to democratize the process, of governance. Democratizing process of governance is very helpful for media, because in democratic situations, journalists get free access to information. They are allowed to freely expose malpractices, express information they have got from sources, and that helps a lot. And democratization helps these media organizations to be more powerful in informing people. In countries like ours, where majority of people are not that much developed in their education, they need a lot of information, so that they understand existing political, economic, and other situations. So the media do have this responsibility of educating the public, majority of people. They need to know what is a right. They need to know how to participate in social and political situations in the country.
How the professional issues treated in private and the government media.
To make a point in regard to what has been raised in regard to the ownership system in this country, as I earlier tried to point out, the dual ownership system in this country has brought a new development in the media practice in general. We do have those positive and negative aspects of media practice in this country. As we all can understand and witness that the government media is a pro-government, and it talks about all success stories of the government. On the other hand, when we come to the private media negates the efforts of the government. It seems that they negate the government's interest and the government practices in the country. This is because of the antagonism developed in line with the different ideological issues on one hand, on the other hand with the capacity to manage the media and the overall practices. In government media, they should have dealt with issues that could have got much public weight and attention. no matter how those things, they were much engulfed with lots of government issues of government in regard to the policies and the practices of the government and the likes. When you come to the private media is more mainly, of course, it is a private, and it has got two objectives mainly, I hope. One of the objectives is profit making, and the other one is ideological. There is an ideology that private media would serve. It could be economical issues, which can be relevant to ideology on one hand. On the other, they have been taken by issues of gaining money or making money. So they put behind public matters and they concentrated on financial gains or profit. And that would lead to the commercialization of the media and leaving public issues behind. This has been witnessed also in the developed world, where there is too much commodification of the news programs and the news items being aired or broadcasted in different media, in the Western media. As a result of that, the Western media didn't give much attention to public issues, and there were debates encircling about how could the media serve the public. And there are different, as my colleague pointed out, there are different journalistic principles, and one of the principles is serving the truth, and the other principle of journalism is to become, or to serve the public interest. The other one is being loyal to citizen. On the other hand, it becomes accountable to the public, it's accountable to the government, and accountable to the profession. So these things have been put behind or left behind, and they didn't put much attention on the real practice of journalism. But in practice in journalism, it is a practice that can demand higher level of understanding about issues, about politics, about development and the like. So there's a need to give better and detailed analysis on the issues. But that's not what we witness in the media practice in this country, because on one hand it's too commercialized, and at the same time there is a negation of one side. On the other hand, there is also pro-governmental, as I mentioned earlier. So those things have shadowed the overall practice of the media. But no matter how those things, we still witness that the media is trying to its level, and there is a need to improve the leadership or the governance practice of the media, because in some cases we see that people who do not have much background or academic or whatever background are leading the media. As a result of that, the overall practice of the media has been in a problematic situation. So that could have been addressed, and so we'll see a better media practice if that would be addressed, along with policy issues that could be addressed by political elites, where there is some political pressure as well because of the degree of understanding of the overall media practices. And if media is practiced very well, we believe that media can serve the democratic process. This is because media can be the checker, or it checks the government practices. It monitors power. So if there is excess power being exercised by a given government branch or branch of government, so there is an opportunity for the media, or there is a possibility for the media to check that power and to serve. It works for serving the public interest.